Well, welcome. My name is Janie Lee. Yeah, debated on whether or not I wanted to do this or not, but I had the opportunity to get interviewed by WZZM13, the news, whatever, a couple of weeks ago, and tell a little bit about my story, and how recovery court has changed my life, and how much better my life is now. So I got to share my story a little bit with the world and how my life has transformed. And I was talking to my therapist about a little bit about my story, and he's like, you should write a book. And I'm like, how many other people have done that shit. They think that their life is so interesting, or and there's a lot of good triumphant stories out there, but I'm like, I don't want to do what everybody else does or did or is doing, like the whole influencer thing or whatever. And I'm like, well, everybody else is doing that. I'm like, I don't want to be that. But I think I don't know. I feel like if I am able to even just reach out to one person, or help one other person, that that'd be great. I'd be happy with that. Because I watch other women online all the time about and how they inspired me, and I'm like, I can relate to that. There's a lot more people out there in the world, I guess, that I can relate to, and that probably can relate to me, and that inspire me, and I can inspire them, So I don't know. I feel like I'm at a place in my life now where I can be an inspiration to other people, through all my trials and tribulations, it came good out of it. So yeah, I don't know. My addiction, I was a really shitty person in my addiction, and it sucked. I've been through a lot of bullshit, but it's made me the person that I am today. I'm 14 months clean from heroin and cocaine. And that's the longest that I've been clean, ever since I was 14 years old. Ever since I was 12 or 13, I started out with booze and, weed. And then I have an ex-boyfriend that introduced me to pills, Oxycontin. And that was about 14 or 15 years old. And I did not know what I was getting myself into. The boyfriend's mom was prescribed Oxycontin, and she would just give them to us, just like for doing the dishes or watching the baby, and or Ritalins too, Oxys or Ritalins, so it's like, nice little, I'm just thinking it's a nice little treat, nice little high, and it's fun at first. It's all fun and games until it's not fun anymore, you know what I'm saying? And then before I know it, I realized that, like, oh shit, I need this, I can't function without the pills, and so it turned into a very vicious cycle, and that went on until I was about 19 years old, and I was deathly afraid of heroin. I'm like, I'm never gonna do heroin, I'm like, pills are okay, I can manage my life, or I'm functionable, or thought I was, off just the pills. But I don't know how, that was so delusional, and I'm immature too, you know what I'm saying? So you don't see them kind of things, you know, when you're young. And nobody can tell you fucking anything different either, you know? I've had so many people try to steer me, you know, back into the right direction. It's just like, and I didn't want to hear nothing from nobody. You couldn't tell me anything different, you know? And, you know, I've had a lot of people try to help me, you know, early on in my life. And because I came from, you know, a decent family, you know, and, the people around me could see the potential in me, you know? They knew that that wasn't the life I was supposed to live. You know, I was really into, you know, sports. I was in basketball, baseball, or softball. I was basketball, softball, soccer, volleyball. You know, I was in all the sports, and I was good at it, you know? And I just rather party, and, you know, I just wanted to get drunk and high, and just thought that was more fun, I guess. And, so, I don't know, yeah, people could just see I had potential, you know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to throw my life down the drain, you know? And I could, you know, sit and dwell on it and sit in the shame and the guilt of what my life could have been. You know, I could have got a scholarship to college and, you know, got a decent job and had my own house by now, you know, but it's not the fucking way the cookie crumbled. At least not for me. It's just like, God, it's like, I had to learn the hard way, you know, hard-headed, definitely. I mean, I feel terrible for my parents, you know what I'm saying? Like, my parents did not know what to do with me, you know, 14-year-old girl, you know, running the streets. My mom called the cops on me all the time. She did not know what to do, you know. She's from the Dominican Republic, you know, she's from a different country, so my dad's from here and she's from there. I was born there, actually, but she did not know what to do. She you know, she wakes up in the middle of the night and her baby girl's gone, like, and she doesn't know who to call or what to, you know. So she'd call the cops, you know, and the cops would come looking for me, and then I get arrested, and then I'm all drunk and high. I get arrested for MIP, you know. I can't tell you how many MIPs, alcohol and tobacco, that I have. And, you know, they would put me on probation, but at that time, you know, I just figure out ways to get around it. Or they and the weird thing is that they didn't test for oxys. I don't know. It didn't come up on the drug screens back then somehow. I don't know how, but so I was dropping clean somehow. I think they're just testing for alcohol or weed. I don't know. So long, I can't remember that far back, but so where was I going with that? I don't know. Oh yeah, my mom, she didn't know what to do with me, you know. And then I remember, like, my dad chased me around town. I remember I had this friend, Spencer and Jackson. It was like the party house, because his mom would be gone, you know, at work. So all of us kids would rally up, you know, at Jackson's house and smoking and drinking and smoking, you know, just getting stupid. And, you know, my dad knew where I was at. And he'd come knocking on the door, you know, and say, Janice Lee, get your ass out of here, you know. And I'd be so embarrassed because I'm like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. My dad come stamp through the door, grabbing my ass, you know, snatching me up, smacking me in the back of the head, you know, which I deserved it because I was a dumbass kid. But, yeah, I felt really bad for the shit that I put my parents through. I was an asshole of a kid. You know, and they say that your kid is gonna be 10 times worse than you are. Which I got 2 boys, 12 and 6. But my oldest stays with my mom ever since he was, small. And I have regrets about that. I mean, when I had him, I was 20. Just getting into my heroin addiction, and I just wasn't ready to be a mom. I was very selfish. And I live with a lot of shame and guilt over that. But I try to, keep in contact with him. And now that I'm in a good place in my life, I've been trying to reach out to him more and spend more time with him. But I think, I don't know, he's just so comfortable in my mom's house. And I think she kind of has this fear of that I'll corrupt him. I don't know. Like, I tried taking him the other day, and we went to Michigan Adventures, and I wanted him to stay the night with me, and she was just, like, acting all weird about it. I don't know why. She's like, oh, no, he can stay with you another day. Because I haven't had him stay with me, like, during the school year because he had school, and she lives about 30 minutes, they live about 30 minutes away. And, now that it's summer, I'm like, can he stay with me? I want to start spending more time with, Jay. And she's like, no, maybe another day, blah, blah, not today. And I'm like, okay, like, she's just being weird about it. But, I mean, I understand where she's coming from. I mean, my youngest is, I'm involved in my youngest full time. He lives with his dad, though, but I'm over there every day. I actually stay in a sober living house right now. Until I move on from here. But that was the best route for me when I got clean, is just to separate myself from everybody and everything. And my boyfriend struggles with addiction too. So that was just the safer route for me to stay in the sober living house. But he's working on his stuff too. But anyways, back to Jaden. But yeah, I'm just trying to spend more time with him now this summer, But my mom doesn't want me to corrupt him. And then my youngest, Moses, he's a spitfire, okay? He's like a tornado, dude. But I don't know, I'm just really grateful that I get to be involved in his life every day. Because there was a time when he was 2-3 years old where I couldn't see him. I wasn't allowed to see him. Because Andrew's mom didn't want me around him when I was high, and I don't blame her, because it wasn't safe for me to be around him. And, and so young, he doesn't understand what's happening or going on, or why mom's passed out, or, just being weird. So yeah, there was a good year where I wasn't allowed to see him, and I had Andrew would sneak him out of the house just so I could see him, and we'd meet up at the park just so I could see my baby for a little bit, and like there were days like where Andrew would sneak me in the house, and so I could hang out with Andrew, and I would have to be in the basement, and I could hear my son running down upstairs, and that it broke my heart, that I could hear him. He's so close, but I can't show my face upstairs. Like, Andrew's mom can't know that I'm here because, you know, I wasn't allowed there at the time. She'd freak out. And it just broke my heart. I could hear his little patter feet, you know, running around upstairs, and I just had to sit there and listen. I hear his little voice, and I'm like, you know, wishing that I could hold him. But I get to today. So, yeah, I can't tell you how happy I am with my life today, you know. So yeah, I don't know, that's just a little bit about my story. I just, you know, I always, even when I was in my addiction, I felt like I was meant for something more, you know. This isn't what I was meant to do in my life. And I don't know if you believe like in astrology. You sound like such a weirdo saying this, but so I pay attention to that kind of stuff. I'm a Gemini, but I've been seeing a lot of good stuff, you know, like in my chart. I see right now, you know, I have a lot of, I'm not that into it, but I know a little bit about it, you know what I'm saying? I'm not like, but you know, a lot of money, you know, coming a lot of money in abundance, and now is like the chapter of my life where I'm gonna thrive, you know. So I kind of feel like, you know, making a little podcast or like vlog, you know, and throwing it out there to the world, I guess, is the right move to make right now. I don't know. I just feel like it could be inspiration to others out there, and I feel like the more that I do it, the better I'll get at it. Obviously, it's my first fucking time. So I don't know, it might seem like dorky or weird. But I don't know, I kind of hope to, you know, start doing it every day and kind of share what I'm going through and, like, you know, my everyday struggles. Because, I mean, even though I have 14 months under my belt, like, I still, you know, I still struggle with my addiction. I mean, you know, using is just a symptom of the disease, you know. A lot of people that use drugs don't just use drugs to use drugs, you know. There's some kind of underlying condition, you know, or something that they haven't dealt with that is leading them to use. And I don't know, for me, you know, it's just a lot of where, you know, unresolved trauma. I struggle with ADHD and anxiety, you know, so you know, I work with a therapist and trying to learn, like, you know, coping skills and building new habits and you know. So we're just trying to be a normal person, you know. But what is normal? You know, like that too. Like, I love this quote. It says, "What is normal for the spider is chaos for the fly." Right? Who's fucking normal? But anyways, so yeah, there's just shit that I struggle with too every day. You know, I'm not fucking perfect. I just want to be the best version of myself for myself and for my family, you know. And yeah, that's all I can ask for. So I don't know. I'm losing my train of thought, so I'm gonna end that with that. Yeah, I'll try to do something every day. Try to share with you guys what I'm going through every day. So, goodbye. Thanks for listening.